So let's talk about a little bit about the quiz on Friday. And we will address your piece of paper in front of you. So, Quiz Friday, some certain things. First off, you already probably have written down the R coefficient. That's going to let us know whether or not our data is good. It answers the question, is the data good? When I say, is the data good, the R coefficient is strictly for linear regression. Linear stuff. If it's close to 1, yeah, you've got a positive, we call it positive correlation. Meaning if you have a line or an equation, a linear equation for this set of data, then you can use it to predict maybe further on. Maybe if we had a longer Twizzlers, we could use that to predict how long it's going to take you to get down to the next one, or so on. So, close to 1, then yes, the data is good. It's got a positive correlation. Closer you are to 0, no, it's not good. So we say there is no correlation, and we can't use that data to, or we can't use the linear regression equation to predict anything. You should not use a bad equation for predictions. If you're close to -1, then yes, you have, your data is good. It's just you have what we call a negative correlation, meaning the prediction is probably going to be less and less as you read the graph left to right. Along the way, I'm going to ask you about interpreting your y-intercept. Your y-intercept, you need to realize, is going to be 0, some sort of number. You've got to realize, going back to the table, you've got to refer back to the table or problem, meaning go back to words to figure out, well, what's the x-coordinate, what's the y-coordinate, what were the words associated with those? So we're going to need a sentence on our test or quiz when there is no bleh. And that's you're either gonna look at your x-axis if you've got a scatter plot, or you're gonna look back at your table and figure out what was your first column. So when there is no blank, there are you're gonna need a number, and then you're gonna need a word in reference to your y-axis. Or your second column, whichever one. When we describe slope on our quiz, you may see the words rate of change. When we've discussed this in the past, we talked about rise over run. And I want us to realize, hey, rise over run means how much are you changing according to your y column or your second column compared to how much are you changing in your x column or your first column. Then you have to figure out what are those words associated with it. So there's some sort of word association. You've got to figure it out. Some sort of word association. What we're going to realize is our slope will probably round it to a nearest integer, maybe. So a good sentence for this, so starting this off, for every 1 byte, we either increase or decrease depending on what your correlation is. If your R coefficient was +1 or closer to +1, then we're going to say was increasing by. But if it was a negative coefficient, then we're going to say be decreasing by. So we either increase or decrease by number of whatever you're calling your y column.